Well, I thought I'd make a video here. I've been kind of waiting around to get some perspective on the situation for President Trump's condition, because early on it was kind of unclear how bad of a situation it would be. Since he has been given experimental antibody treatment and now is being transferred to Walter Reed Hospital, obviously this is not one of those. Apparently, it's a more serious condition than than some are. Although, I mean, because early on you have to kind of wait to see, how it develops. It can develop rather quickly into something incredibly serious, or it can just be kind of minor. And apparently, the first lady's condition is more on the minor side. Of course, she's younger, and um, I think the statistical prognosis, though, is for the general public for somebody in his condition is probably about 95% survival level, at least or more. I've heard even as high as 99, but it's far more likely than anything ultimately happening there. And so we wish him the best and hope and pray for his full recovery. Um, I believe, as I mentioned before on one of my videos, I think I actually had the virus myself, but of course I had it at a time and place where it would be so improbable I would have had it that early in the sequence. But the symptoms all sound very very familiar already. Fatigued, fever. It sounds very similar. And my opinion is probably here, and I'm just giving my own thoughts, is that since it is the president and because he has access to all this presidential level care, he's being taken care of on a level far more intensely than, say, any of us would be in the same situation because, I mean, it's available, so why not use it? It's the best that the top medical capability in the world has to offer. So, and what, be safe rather than sorry, right? So that's kind of my viewpoint. I still expect at this time his prognosis will be pretty good, but you can't guarantee that. There's always that, I don't know, 1 to 5% probability that something really adverse happens, but we're really hoping for the best. And of course, so as I've been following the election, all we can do at the moment is assume that the best happens. Obviously, apparently at this point in time, the vice president has tested negative. To be on the safe side, they're going to have to continue to test for the next few days to make absolutely sure. But I mean, I don't know when the last time they met was. We don't know when he came down with it, but one can get this rather quickly. And so, we'll have to wait and see. I understand that the Secretary of State tested negative, and several other people tested negative. So, yeah, that's that. Now, so the campaign for the president's side is kind of put on hiatus now, while Joe Biden, who tested negative, is now unleashed. And the likelihood that Joe Biden would have got it being only in that proximity and not shaking hands or even elbow bumping, as they say, is very, very small. So that's kind of where we are on that. From the interesting on the polling, the two polls that I've seen so far that have come out. One is the CNBC poll, which is being done by a Democrat polling organization, has Biden ahead by 13 points. And on the other hand, a poll coming out by IBD Tip has now got Biden ahead by only 3 points. Now, the last poll was taken completely after the debate. The first one, I think, included the debate day and the day after, and seemed to have both of them have a similar 1,000-ish sample size. Okay. Of course, the latest Rasmussen, which is also pre-debate, it was really bad. It went down to 8-point advantage for Biden, which is really anomalous when you look at the whole trend of the Rasmussen polling on this year since early July. In fact, I went through that yesterday before the bad news, and it's kind of interesting how it has gone from -10 with the first poll to +1 a couple of weeks ago, and now down to -8. And they're attributing the latest negative movement to, they think it's correlated with the appointment of the of Amy Coney Barrett for the Supreme Court. Again, I don't know if that's the case or not, but that's where we are on that. The approval number, I guess, from Rasmussen today was what, 46 to 53, with a little round off error as usual with their approach. And I kind of expected it would drop today because a really good day Monday dropped out of the average. So, that's probably the big driver, and maybe a little bit of a bad day on Thursday. Assuming the president recovers to full health in the near term, which we can hope for, how this will affect the race is really up in the air here. One thing I think it might do is put a little more focus perhaps on the whole issue of the vice presidential debate and the vice presidential choice that Joe Biden has picked. I mean, particularly considering Biden's age, and obviously, if something can happen to Trump, something can happen to Biden, and he's 4 years older. So you have to look at this and say, there's a serious chance that Kamala Harris will become president of the United States sometime during the first term of a potential Joe Biden administration. If they have any choice in the matter, it probably won't be until after the 2-year point, so that she'd be eligible for 2 complete terms after that if she could succeed in winning them. She is probably the most liberal member of the U.S. Senate, has a very far left attitude, and I think that could be one thing that could be brought into this debate at this time, because I think not enough focus has been placed on this. So we'll see how that turns out. But anyhow, and beyond that, where would, if Trump were to recover within the next several days, I think then the question is, what happens to the campaign after this? I mean, Trump's whole campaign style is based on mass rallies, and this whole incident sort of reinforces the risk involved in that, both to the public. I presume if he recovers from it, he will have enough antibodies in his system at that time that probably will be okay, I guess. One thought, I was talking to somebody just a few days ago, I brought up this idea that wouldn't it have been smart for him to have got in on the phase 3 trials of, let's say, one of the most promising vaccines. After all, these vaccines do exist now, and they're being given to thousands of people as part of the phase 3 trial. I mean, he could have gotten in on that and probably prevented this whole thing, assuming the vaccine worked, of course. But then again, I don't know. And actually doing it during the experimental phase would almost be kind of I would think, a heroic gesture, whereas waiting to after it was deemed safe and effective, of course, and if he got first in line at that point, might be considered favoritism. So that was an idea that hit me, but obviously he apparently didn't do that. So we'll just have to see what happens and hope for the best, because this thing can be deadly. And on the other hand, it probably won't be. We've learned, certainly the doctors have learned a lot about treating it that compared to where they were in the middle of March back in New York, and some, when some of his friends had died of it real quickly and all that. So, and we can only be, but this is a serious bug. I mean, but on the other hand, I suspect what's going on at the moment is probably out of just being very cautious. Well, I'll close this for now, because anything more is just pure speculation, I guess. And so until next time.